Hey everyone, it's Sports Talk with Coach West. Today I got a special guest with me, Jackson Stevenett. He actually played basketball down at SUU, 3 year starter down there. Um, Coaches high school basketball now in a small town in Utah, and he's actually starting a podcast of his own called Jazz Beats. It's not out yet, but be looking for that about preseason time. So, Jackson, thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to this for a few days now. I'm excited. Got my Jazz shirt on, ready to talk some ball. Be a good time.
There you go. Yeah, so Jackson will be our jazz expert for the year. He's a huge jazz fan.
Don't be an expert yet.
So he's got his podcast going. So we'll be looking forward to that and talking more jazz basketball. Today we just wanted to talk about kind of some of the things that have been going on with the Jazz this year. Um, we'll talk about a little bit about the draft, Mike Conley trade, kind of what the Jazz are going to need next season for starters and also for their bench, and then also kind of what our predictions are for how they'll do in the West and how they'll do in the playoffs, because we obviously both think they'll be in the playoffs next year, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, so first of all, the Jazz drafted. They had three second round picks. They actually went into the draft with the 23rd pick. They traded that away in the Mike Conley trade, and then they ended up having the 50th pick or 53rd pick, and then traded for the 50th and 58th. What was your impression of seeing them trade a little bit more in the second round?
Um, I don't know a whole lot about these guys. I know a little bit. I've been so consumed by this Mike Conley trade. That's kind of all I've been thinking about and getting hyped about. But I do know that these guys are come from scoring backgrounds. They're from a couple of them from smaller schools, but I know they can flat out put the ball in the hoop, and I mean, you can never run out enough of that. But I don't know a whole lot about their game. I think they're all guards, but I don't know. What do you see them contributing at all, or is it kind of a work in progress kind of thing? What are your thoughts, Coach?
I think with Brantley, 6'7" guy, um, he's a beast. I don't know if you've seen 6'7", just huge, muscular, athletic. Um,
Yeah,
so I saw a couple of his highlights. I think that he'll be, if nothing else, just athletic, and he hustles. He hustles for the ball. He's all over the court, and so I think he'll fit in with the Jazz system. I don't know if he'll start out on the 15-man roster, but I definitely see him jumping in and playing a part within the NBA season with the Jazz. Um, but I think he'll get a lot of G League time. Um, there's a lot of G League guys fighting for time next year, so I think he'll get a lot of time in there. But I think just his effort alone will help him get some minutes for the Jazz this season.
yeah, you can't run out of that, especially after losing Crowder and Grayson Allen. I mean, that's what those guys brought is energy and effort, and it'll be good.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Now Foreman Wright, I'm really excited about him. Um, 6'1" guard. He was second in the nation in scoring. He averaged 27 points a game, um, and he shoots about 50% from the field. Great free throw shooter. That's the thing about Brantley is he shoots about 51% from the field too.
It's awesome.
So good shooters. And Foreman Wright, he's quick. Like he's quick up and
Yeah,
down. Shifty, can get through the defenders. I think we'll actually see him, especially with the Exum injury still. If he's still out for a little bit, I could see him
yeah,
coming in as that two guard or backing up Conley.
that'd be awesome. I'm just reading a little quick interview about them. They had them describe what they thought of their own game, and both Wright, Foreman, and Brantley talked about how vocal they are, and having a young guy being like talking in people's ears, directing traffic, talking to the defense. That's like stuff you don't teach. You can't build that later on. And from a young guys, perhaps to have two young guys coming in with that attitude,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah,
Coming in acting like leaders and not acting like rookies. I think that's all you can ask for.
yeah. And they actually played in the same conference. Um,
Oh, really?
yeah, so
That's
they
cool.
played in the same conference. They competed in a 3-on-3 basketball tournament this offseason also together. Those two. And they won it. They won $100,000 doing it.
That's
So
sweet.
they already got the
Good for them.
connection there. They're already friends. They actually said they texted each other after every NBA workout they did. Um,
That's awesome.
so they're already starting a good system. The other guy that I don't know a ton about is the guy from Yale, Onai. Um, Shooting guard, about 6'6", I think. Um, which we need a spot for a shooting guard because we have Mitchell as our shooting guard. So we're going to need someone in that second spot to back him up. Um,
Yeah.
I I'm not sure he's a junior coming out, but he was it the Ivy League Player of the Year? I think this year and maybe the previous year too. So
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited. I don't know if I see a lot of contributions out of these guys just because we've kind of established our identity already, but hopefully they can come in and get some good minutes when they can.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, Onai is the only one I'm not sure about. He may spend more time in the G League, but I'm really excited about the first two just to see what they can do, and I hope Onai surprises us and jumps in and plays some good minutes for us too.
Yeah, man, that'd be sweet.
So, because potentially we may be a little short since we got Mike Conley now.
Yeah.
So, what did you think of that? What was your initial reaction when you heard about
Man,
Conley going?
if you're a Jazz fan right now and you're not just pumped, I don't know. We're on completely different pages because I'm ecstatic. He's if you'd have talked last year or halfway through this year, the one thing we were lacking is another playmaker and a guy at the point that can spread the floor. I think Rubio, as good as he was at the things he did, it just hurt having a guy that you don't have to guard outside that can
Yeah,
their defender can sag in. I think in the Houston series, it killed us having Capella able to come and to help off of Rudy a little bit because then Rubio's guy is sitting in Rudy's lap,
yeah,
you know, because he doesn't have to get out and extend on the 3-point line. But having Conley, a knockdown shooter, he shoots pushing 40% from three. I mean, it's gonna be fun.
yeah. And I've always liked him. I've never really watched his game because I mean, obviously he wasn't on the Jazz, so I wasn't really
Right.
following him much. But I mean, he averaged 21 points a game last season. I think he was like six and a half assists. Can
Yeah.
shoot very well. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm excited. My initial reaction was just, I mean, with any team is when someone gets traded, you're like, oh, I'm gonna miss these guys who just left. But
Right.
ever since that, like my initial reaction was, that's awesome we have him. I felt like it was a lot that we gave up for him, but I think in the long run, it's gonna be the best thing for the Jazz.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It sucks having Crowder leave. So I think we gave up Crowder. We gave up Corver, who's probably on his last year of his career, maybe. So
Yeah,
he was his way out, anyways. Crowder is a little disappointing. And then Grayson Allen, he's kind of hard because you see signs of him when he went off for 40 this year
yeah,
in that kind of a garbage game, but he shows signs. You just never know.
yeah,
He's a little bit undersized for what he plays. He's not the greatest shooter, so you never know, but he shows signs. So
yeah,
that's too bad. But I mean, I think Conley's the real deal, and
yeah,
he's exactly what we need at guard.
yeah,
Get a little pressure off of Mitchell. Get Joe Ingles doing what he does best and shooting three instead
yeah,
of him coming off pick and roll so much.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I miss Crowder. I love Crowder, but I think the Jazz did good.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. And Conley's happy to be here, which I felt like at the trade deadline, people were saying, "Oh, he doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to go to Utah."
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like,
And I love how him and Mitchell are already working out. They're already playing together, shooting
Yeah.
together. That's so cool.
yeah, I feel like with Mitchell though, you just like you can't help but smile or just be his friend no matter what. Like I wish I was friends with him.
Yeah, and I know I'm a Jazz fan, so I'm a little biased. But
Yeah.
you have to love him. I feel like everyone else that's an NBA fan loves him too.
Yeah.
He's so likable.
Yeah, you gonna get his new shoes,
I don't know. I don't know if I can pull some of those off. I
right?
don't mind the black and pink ones. They're kind of cool.
The Venom ones are pretty nice. Yeah, I'm like I gotta get some of those. Like the cool thing is he wanted to make them cheap, so cheaper than
Yeah.
other shoes. I'm like I gotta get some of those. So
Dude, I think you should.
yeah,
I think screw off these pink ones. I'm gonna just pull them up and see if it works.
I like the pink and the black ones, and the black and green too.
Yeah,
The black and green, the green
pink
actually glows in the
suits.
dark a little bit. Yeah, those ones.
Yeah, I think those ones you should get.
That's the ones
You
I
rock.
actually like. I like those ones, and then the green ones I hear have parts of them that actually glow in the dark.
Yeah,
Which is kind of cool.
that's cool, man.
So
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I
yeah,
can pull it off, but they're sweet.
they are right. With the other thing with Conley that I really like is the is he's like ambidextrous. They say he shoots that floater that he does, that signature move. He shoots that right-handed more than
Yeah,
left, and he's
he's all
awesome
right.
at it.
Finishes.
So I think just having that threat to where he can attack and leave Ingles open on the corner, um, open up some more space for Mitchell, so Mitchell doesn't have to. What was Mitchell at? About 28 points a game last year or something? 26,
Yeah,
28.
I think the second half of the
Second
year
half.
he kind of struggled coming in, but I think for the year he averaged about 22, 24 ish.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So I think
with
Mitchell.
that slump, it's
Yeah.
good.
So I think it'll also open up a lot more for Gobert, and if Favors is still around, that pick and roll with
Yeah,
Conley. I mean,
yeah,
it's it spreads the court a ton, which is those two
yeah,
just working together. So I mean, if they can both average 20 a game and Gobert can average 15, and I mean, it's
yeah.
exciting. It's exciting.
It's really fun, and I think Conley fits perfect in our offense too. I mean, if you watch Memphis at all the last 5 6 years, or when they were really good,
Yeah.
they ran a ton of pick and rolls. Marcus Saul is an elite pick and roll guy. Zach Randolph, he played with those two, and they ran pick and rolls all day long, and he was a beast with it. So I think he's gonna fit right in.
Yeah. No, for sure. So, no, I'm glad you're excited. I'm excited about it. I wish it was already October so we could start
I
watching
know.
them. But the other thing I was going to ask you about is I feel like Conley fit that need for the Jazz at point guard that they really needed. Um,
Yeah.
what do you think the Jazz are going to do once free agency opens up at Sunday? Do you think they're going to do anything? Do you think they'll just bring in maybe some role players, some bench guys? What is your thought on that?
I'm just glad it's not me. I think there's so many options and so many tough decisions to make. I do know just Justin Zanuck, our new GM, he's been saying that they've got a ton of stuff up their sleeve. They've
Mm-hmm.
got guys they're still going after. They're not done with
Yeah.
the off season. They're still putting some things together. At this stage, though, it's more on if the player wants to be here too, which kind of hurts Utah. Utah in the past hasn't really attracted big names before, so hopefully this Mike Conley trade and having Mitchell growing as he is and having the two-time defensive player of the year there, some of those things, hopefully we can get guys to want to be here too.
Yeah.
Because I think we have a little bit of flexibility with Favors' contract and we've got a little funds left over. So I think you'll see us make some moves. I don't know what,
Yeah.
but I don't think we're done yet.
Yeah. Well, I feel the same way. I think because we don't really have a ton of money right now currently
Yeah,
to go get players. So I mean, we could bring people in on like veteran minimum contracts.
right.
Some of these guys we drafted, some of our D League or G League guys maybe. Well, we have Willie Reed. You familiar with him on the Jazz D League team?
Say that again, what?
Are you familiar with Willie Reed, who used to play for the Clippers?
Uh,
Big power forward
a
guy.
little bit. Yeah, a little bit. What do you know? What do you think?
So he was on track to jump into our rotation last year, but then he got hurt with the Stars, so he actually wasn't able to play. But he's a big like Favors type guy.
Yeah,
He's amazing. He's a great player. So I think he'll have a chance to jump in too. So I think some of these D or G League guys that we have will get some opportunities to jump up. But like you said, Zanuck said they're going to be aggressive still. So um, Mitchell and Conley, I mean, there's people who want to come here now just since Conley got traded and know that Mitchell's there. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do, but it's nice.
so what kind of position are we lacking right now? We filled the point guard, exactly what we wanted. Where do you see us kind of digging at right now? What spot? What type of player? I don't know. Give me your thoughts, and I'll give you mine.
I think, in my opinion, I think we need um, a backup shooting guard. I know we drafted a shooting guard, but maybe like a veteran type shooting guard to jump in there, not necessarily to
Yeah,
start, but just to jump in for Mitchell when they need it. Um, and we got Ingles at small forward. Royce O'Neal, he can kind of play that shooting guard and small forward. So I think it's really small forward and shooting guard position that they could maybe use like a veteran just to jump in there. Um,
yeah,
a lot of talk about Favors leaving again, which that's a talk every year that he's getting traded. He's probably sick of it by now.
yeah,
Um, but I don't necessarily think getting Favors out of there to get more of a stretch forward. Since we have Conley now, he's going to kind of stretch the floor. So I don't necessarily think that we need to have Favors leave to stretch the floor. I think we could do just fine with him still there.
yeah, yeah. I think so too. I'd hate to see Favors go. He's kind of a, I mean, he's been around the longest now on the Jazz. He's our
Yeah.
longest tenured guy. Somebody, I think it was Andy Bailey, one of the Jazz writers. It might have been him. Tweeted out saying the last time um, Favors and Rudy were on the court together with a point guard that can stretch the floor. It was George Hill a
Yeah.
few years ago. Their net rating on the floor was like plus 14 or so,
Yeah.
which is really good. So I think this double big works. I don't think we match up well with Houston, and that really showed in the playoffs.
Uh huh.
But I think this two big lineup we have really hurts teams, and it punishes them for playing the small ball. So I'd like to see Favors stay. I
Yeah.
think he does a ton of good things. He's kind of found a role, starting for a few minutes and then going out and then coming in and replacing Rudy to give him a rest. And then he's the center for the bench squad, and
Yeah.
he would go to work on teams being that center off the bench kind of.
Well, even in that Houston series, when he was in on Capella, he was
Yeah,
shutting him down. Gobert was having some issues with him, but when he was in, he was shutting him down. So
yeah,
I think we keep him. Um, I mean, I think his contract's at 18 million. So they
yeah,
say that if we drop that and throw somebody else in, um, but I don't know. It's who knows right now what's gonna happen.
I, yeah. I just don't see you upgrading if you get rid of him. I mean, you
Yeah.
may upgrade with you might get a better shooter or someone like that, but overall, I don't see players out there at that 18, 16, 18 million range that's in a big upgrade. So
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I think they'll stick around. I think we have a lot of talent coming in our G League and our draft that I think will definitely jump in and help a lot. Um, Especially if like Willie Reed stays healthy and jumps in. Like I say, when look up highlights on him. I think
yeah,
I think he could be
I
an
will.
awesome Favors type Gobert in between those two
Cool.
players. So yeah, I'm excited. Like I said, we need to fill up our bench somehow. So we may just get some role players, and I don't know
Right.
though. They made that Conley move, so sky's the limit right now. Especially with people
Yeah.
wanting to come here, which is a nice feeling. So
Right. Yeah. Hopefully, because usually those vet minimum guys that kind of come in and they look for championship teams. They go to some of these bigger markets. Hopefully, this will persuade some of those guys. Some of these, I don't know, guys that can kind of just play D and shoot. These 3-and-D guys that can come here. And hopefully, this will persuade them to want to be in Utah and play with Mitchell and Conley, who can both attack the rim and then kick out these shooters. That's what these older guys kind of want to do is shoot the ball.
yeah.
Hopefully we can get a few.
Do you think the Jazz bring back any of former players? There's been a lot of discussion about potential former players coming back, like Alec Burks. George Hill just got waived today. Um,
Yeah,
so Alec Burks, George Hill. I think they're maybe even like Damari Carroll from the Brooklyn started it out at the Jazz. Do you see any guys like that coming back, or do you think it's mostly
I
just
would
going to
love
be?
Damari Carroll. I think Damari Carroll would be great for us.
Yeah,
To come in, he'd be first off the bench in my mind. Um, he can come in and he's improved since he's been at Utah. He's improved his three a ton.
yeah,
He was very good for was it Toronto
yeah,
from three. He shot the ball really well the last few years. So I think a guy like that I would love to have.
yeah,
I don't know. It's always fun to see a guy come back and play. I mean, how pumped was everybody when Korver came back?
right,
That's cool to see guys like that have left on good terms and come back and contribute. So I wouldn't put it past us. We've done it before, and I'd like some of those guys back,
yeah.
especially Carroll.
Yeah, I think Carroll would be good because he could fit that small forward position. He could come in, even that shooting guard if he needed to. Just the
Right.
so I think there's some good things, and I think some of these guys are near the end of, I mean, a little bit past their prime, but I still think they can jump in and like Corver did and still play some big minutes for him and during the
Yeah.
season. So
Yeah, well, we're past the stage of shooting for 3 or 4 years down the road to
yeah,
be something special. It's like this next year, especially this year. So the age thing doesn't bother me anymore if they're a little bit past their prime, but 'cause we're trying right now, you know.
yeah. Well, if we can get those veterans in to help out some of the younger guys, and because I mean, Mitchell, he learned a ton from veterans, whether they were on his
Yeah,
team or not. I mean, he learned a
yeah.
ton from these players, and I think that'll help too. So with that said, what do you think? What are your predictions for next year or this coming season?
I see it's so hard to tell right now just because free agency is just a mess right now. Nobody knows where anybody's going. Nobody's really committed or I mean, there's tons of rumors out there about that, so it's hard to see what the rest of the league does. If things were today, as of today, I see us fighting for the 2 seed in the West right now. I think we're top three.
Uh huh.
I think we just, I think we're better than Denver now. I think we beat out Portland now and Oklahoma City. Um, Obviously, Golden State, if healthy, is number one still in the West. Houston's right there, but they're kind of a mess too. We don't know what
Yeah.
Chris Paul's doing. They're talking about getting rid of Tucker, Capella, Eric Gordon to go after maybe a Jimmy Butler. You just never know. But I see us fighting for top spots in the West, and if we do make a few more moves and get some of these pieces, there's I don't know. Depending on what the other teams do, there's the chance we could end up in the finals. Look at Toronto.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not. I mean, they're very good, and Kawhi is an animal, but they're after that. Who do they have? They've got shooters. They've got solid pieces. There's no reason why we couldn't be the next Toronto with a few more pieces in line.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the goal, and I think we're close. I don't think we're there yet, but I think we're close.
Yeah. I definitely think that we're top three, just in my opinion, just from what I've seen. And it's hard to say with it. We'll have to talk after free agency and see if
Yeah,
that changes any. Um, but I think yeah, top three. Um, we have pretty much the same players. We've upgraded in some areas, so I think. I mean, some of the other teams upgraded too, but the thing that I'm wondering about for like, just for the Lakers, for instance, is you have LeBron, Anthony Davis, and they want another top star. How are they going to play together? That's because the Jazz have stars on their team, but they contribute different ways every game. They play more team basketball, which that's why I like the Jazz. Is it's more team, but
Right. And when you got three max guys that the Lakers are going for, who else? Who else you got a room for?
right?
You know, I mean, Golden State showed this year. I mean, if they're healthy, they walk through it, but
Yeah,
they weren't healthy. And after that, you got Quinn Cook starting at the point or starting for him or playing a ton of minutes.
yeah,
You can't win without depth if you're not healthy. And I don't know what the Lakers will do if they get a max guy. They'll have no depth. So I don't
yeah,
know. It's gonna
yeah.
be fun.
I would hate to see him get another max guy, but like I say, who's going to get all the points? Who's going to get who's going to
Right.
want the ball? I mean, you've seen it with teams that they collapse when they have that many stars, and you've seen it with teams where they do awesome. I mean,
Right.
that's why I like the Jazz. Is it's team basketball. Different people contribute. I mean, Mitchell scored a ton every game, but you had those other guys behind the scenes doing a ton too that made it so he could score and they could win as many games as they did. So
Yeah, I think that's kudos to Snyder. Coach Snyder does an awesome job getting like the best out of each guy. I think he's a lot. He reminds me a ton of Popovich.
yeah,
You see guys go to Popovich on Spurs and they just shine like these kind of no-namers
yeah,
shine, and then they leave and they don't get as much out of them. So I think Snyder has a lot of those aspects too of getting the very best out of all of his guys. And you see guys like Royce O'Neal going for 20 and contributing a ton,
yeah,
and then starting and guarding James Harden in the playoffs. I mean, who's Royce O'Neal before this year? If you're not a Jazz fan, you have no idea.
right. I didn't even know who he was when the Jazz got him.
Yeah,
I didn't even know who he was.
he's in Snyder's system, and they're going to get the best out of him.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think it's going to be an exciting season. Like I say, free agency is going to come up, so we'll definitely have to talk after that and see kind of if our predictions are the same. I think they'll still be the same. I mean, if the Lakers get max players or we bring in new players, I think we should still. There's no reason we shouldn't be that top 3 spot. So.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
So. But yeah. Well, I just want to thank you for coming on my show. Just Sports Talk with Coach West. Good luck with Jazz Beats, the podcast. Remember, everyone, Jazz Beats podcast. Look for that. And we'll have to get you back on when you guys get that out there, so we can have these people start listening to it too. So.
Yeah, anytime, man. We're gonna be collaborating. I mean, you guys watching right now, you listen to Coach West. Keep it up, keep subscribing, keep following. And I'd love to be back on later, and we'll have you on our show too.
Okay.
It'll be fun.
Awesome. Well, yeah, subscribe. So that when his podcast comes out, I can let you guys know. Like him, comment, let us know what else you guys want us to talk about. But yeah, the Sports Talk with Coach West. Have a good night.